Especially when you're hustling all the time, you just work, 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 eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep, work. You're just doing that repeated, and you don't take that time for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and actually really slow down and just be present. And that's the number one thing, is just being present.
Welcome back to the Mind Composition. My name is Bryan Blair. I flew to Phoenix to do a special 3-part series with my best friend, my sister from another mister, my ex-roommate, Miss Taylor Rose. How's it going?
It's going Gucci's.
Going Gucci's.
Gucci's.
Gucci fruity pooty my duties. I'm going to cut that part out.
Just keep it. It's okay.
It's
I even blurred
good.
that. I mentally blurred out the cuss word I was about to say.
I'm trying to censor. You can't be cussing on these.
Dude, I cuss like a sailor. You already know this.
I mean, yeah, me too. But yeah, you know what?
But it's okay. So if you hear long pauses, that's what it is. Long pauses is.
It's like
it's about to come out, but then.
I'm trying to contain myself before I let out what is about to hurt a lot of other people's feelings. Sounds like a lot of my life.
Yeah, huh?
Oh my gosh, but dang, it's been a while. We used to live in Roner Park. That was an interesting time, honestly. It was great. It was bad. It's also interesting.
It was a growing time.
It was a definite growing time. The crushing season. You remember that, right? The crushing season.
Yep.
That was just
Stephen Furtick. Yep.
That was
all my believers out there. Definitely listen to that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that. When you showed me that, I was like mind blown. I was like, this is advice for like everything to come, the crushing season.
And literally you can watch it over and over and over, and it's gonna reveal something different to you each time.
It's still relative to everything that's happening in your life, because you're always going to be growing, you're always going to be crushing,
evolving.
Yeah, going through, like, it's like grapes, literally.
It's like a butterfly.
Yeah, when they make grapes, when they make wine, when they make wine from grapes, they crush them down. They crush it. They knead it. Same thing with pizza dough. They knead it, they pull it, they stretch it. But what comes out in the end? Something delicious and fattening known as pizza and wine.
And that's the thing too. Yep, that all sounds good.
Making me hungry right now.
Dude, I'm always hungry.
I know.
Anywho, I look straight in the camera for that. I'm always hungry.
I'm always hungry.
Big Mama
feel free to send food. Your food supports the
my
podcast.
My Cash App is
T
Rose Artistry.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to send me a free pizza.
We should order pizza after this. Oh, dude, I'm thinking food right now.
I want tacos.
We had tacos last night.
Quiero muchos tacos. I'm just kidding. No hablo mucho español, pero...
Comida, yo tengo...
Para comida.
Para comida. Anywho, so you and me came from a very interesting and a lot of growing over the past few years, and then we lived together for for 8 months, not even. That was a failed...
it was about 8 months. It wasn't a fail though.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was a fail.
It felt like a failure,
it was a flop.
It was a flop. It felt like a failure, but it was just more of a detour.
Yeah, it was more of like I don't even know if it was a detour. It was meant to be on all parts. It was more of just like a wake-up call, in my opinion. Like, it was a flop, not a failure. It's like, yeah, we had high expectations that completely went the other way, but, you know, everything does in life. You expect something to go one way, but then it just completely diverts in the other way. But, you know, it taught us a lot about, like, you know, healing from, like, past, like, I don't even know. Like, how would you explain it? We both healed a lot, so.
Personally, for me, it was a huge eye-opener, because little backstory for me, I started out in Montana. I moved down to Phoenix. I've been on my own, you know, since I was like 18, just hustling, doing what I had to do, catching the bus, like, you know, just any hustler knows that, you know, you have to do what you got to do. And for that, you know, I thought, okay, since I'm a hustler, I've been able to take care of myself. I've been able to do this. I thought, you know, that was true independence, but I was still very codependent from, you know, things from my childhood that I never healed. So with that, I feel like it just really, when I moved to California, I was like, okay, you know, I get a fresh start. I'm going to go make something out of myself. I'm going to do this for my family. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to make it big, and I'm going to put everything I got into it. And I feel like the reason why, because I know there in California, you were there. You saw how, like, when I was here, I completely changed. I feel like when out there, I was somebody totally different. It was a new environment. You know, just being in a whole new environment where I didn't know anybody except you and our other roommate. It was just crazy, because with that, it was a very weird time. But at the same time, it was a lot of growth, because, like I said, I was a hustler. I thought, okay, I'm independent. I got my, you know, I can do this. But I feel like when I was out there, it was just like I kept hitting a wall. And I was like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? But it was because I had all that unhealed trauma that I had to deal with. And that's what was keeping me back, because I kept running from my problems. That's what I did. I'm going to be real and just be 100%. That's what I did. And, you know, it was crazy, because just being out there and being separated from everything and anything I knew, it was just like in isolation. And I felt like God brought me out there, because I remember, holy crap, I remember praying about it so hard. Like, I remember, because, you know,
I remember you texting me about it, like,
yes,
and calling me and being like, is this the right thing to do?
literally,
I remember you were
because
turned off about it. You did not want to move to Roner Park.
I didn't, because honestly, during that last summer, it was very hard too, just like personal family issues, you know.
Yeah.
There was a death, there was just like hard times within my family, and it was just like, it was very hard to just see everybody hurting. And, you know, that's another thing, is like my unhealed trauma, like from my childhood, is, you know, like I wanted to help everybody. I always put everybody before myself. And so, you know, with that, I was just like, okay, it felt like it was like the worst time possible to leave, but at the same time, I was just kind of like, I already said I was gonna do it, and I was already like, you know, just, I was already, I
you were trying
committed to it. One thing about me is, when I say I'm gonna do something, I do it.
You're gonna pull through.
I don't back out.
Yeah.
And that's all. I was just like, you know what, I have to do this. And, you know, it was crazy too, because I think it was the first apartment where we saw, and I think they raised the price of it.
They
like
raised the price. They changed up the deal a little bit.
It seemed like when I prayed about it, it was like it changed, and then I was like, oh, that's a sign that I shouldn't go, you know. But then it was weird, because then I kept praying. I was like, God, like, I don't know, you know. But
I remember you telling me you were praying, and you were saying, if this is not meant to be, God, stop it somehow. Block it from happening.
I prayed for a roadblock if that was not the way. And, you know, it was weird, because it was kind of like a green light, red light type of situation. Yeah. I was like, okay,
the idea of it seemed good, but the actual like repercussions of it were very
Yeah, with the actual sign too of getting that red light at first, you know, that the apartment or whatever, like, just basically like changing the price to where it was out of our price range. Okay, red light. And then our apartment that we moved into was, you know, green light, because it was cheaper.
It was cheaper. It's a good deal. It was only like $100 security deposit. That was actually a damn good deal.
Literally.
But I think that God organized that damn good deal because of the way that it ended. We needed to get out on a damn good deal. Most places cost $5,000 or $6,000 to break the lease. We got out on 1 month's rent plus our security deposit back. Like that, I feel like God organized a good deal to kind of like show us both who we were dealing with, two, the situations that we were dealing with, and three, kind of like redirecting mainly your path, because your path was completely, you know, boomeranged out of California right back into Arizona, and and it woke me up, because I dodged a bullet with that relationship. That was a bullet. You dodged a bullet in California itself, could have completely taken you off where you were wanting to go. So both of us really dodged like missiles at this point of people and things that could have actually destroyed, or at least we're trying to destroy like our actual like plan or what God has planned for us. And it's kind of like God will use certain people in certain avenues in your life to kind of like
the ones closest to you. I feel like that's the thing is, you know, I feel like in the whole grand scheme of things, everyone's human. Everybody makes mistakes, you know, and it, you know, whether they choose to heal their trauma or not, that's on them and the way that they continue to live their life and stuff. Just, I feel like the people that do stuff, I feel like God uses the closest people to you to teach you a lesson, because even same thing with me, you know, like I've had family, you know, like betray me in a sense, and, you know, like just like basically just hurt, because you know how they always say that people are always going to hurt you, but God, like, just rely on God. And that's so true, because humans are always going to let you down no matter what.
100%.
It doesn't matter. Like, you know, different situations, you could be like, oh, this person's going to let me down. Could be 5 years down the road, they're going to let you down some way or another, and it's going to, you know, and it's those things that you learn, those lessons, and, you know, it's just the whole grand scheme of things.
9 times out of 10, what I've learned is actually the person that you would take a bullet for is the one standing behind the trigger. 9 times out of 10. Like, and that, I mean, honestly, it sucks. It is what it is at that point. And both of you and me have actually developed that attitude. It is what it is. But the good thing about it is that we've learned, at least through now, we're still going to be tested, squeezed, crushed. It's just going to happen, especially people like you and me that have been like called. I believe that both of us have been called up to do greater things more than just like the average person.
Than to accept simplicity.
To become a great leader, you need to become a follower first, and you're going to go through the most challenging, it could be emotional or physical or family, trials, tribulations, crushing season. It's going to break you down to your core. It's going to crush you down. All right. But guess what? The only way to get to that next level is you need to heal first. You need to get through, and whether it's stuff dating back to your childhood, you need to pray about it. You need to give it to the Lord. You need to heal from it first, because if you're hanging on to that baggage, God cannot bring in new stuff into your life. It just won't work. You're hanging on to old stuff, and it's just not going to allow you for new opportunities in the future. It's so true.
And that's the thing too, is, recently I reached a huge breakthrough. Like something, it felt like this wall that I've been hitting for so many years. I feel like I said, I was running from things, but I also felt like I was hitting that wall.
Yeah.
On the surface, a lot of people would be like, oh, like you have your stuff together. You have it figured out.
On the outside.
That's the thing, is the outside. A lot of people used to think I've been doing a lot of stuff like since I was little. I've been hustling. I've been doing my thing. I've been on my grind for like the longest, but I neglected myself for so many years, and it was just crazy because people would be like, oh, like you're strong and everything. And I feel like strong people, we're always there for other people, but when it's like time for us, usually either one, we don't make time for ourselves and we prioritize other people. That's one thing. Holy crap.
King of that right there.
God slapped me. Please, metaphorically
strike me with lightning, because whenever I need to take time to myself. Don't say
that, Buzz.
What? No, for real. Like I'm the most
Better
ignorant.
knock on some wood.
I'm the most.
Yay, knock on my teeth. Just kidding.
No, for real. Like I'm the most ignorant person when it comes to that. I'll give people advice that I should be taking. I'll give people time of day when I should really be recuperating and regenerating myself. Because people that know me, that actually know me, they know I like kind of not all the time, but at some points run myself into the ground. And it used to get really bad sometimes, but not anymore. It's more manageable now. But like, man, dude, like we've been through so much. And I actually had like one person tell me recently that when they met me and when they see like who I am on the outside, they thought I was like some perfect, put together young man, whatever, just doing his life. And then I started opening up and telling, bits and pieces of like things that I've been through. There's reasons why I am the way I am today. It's because my story. It's because my testimony, you need that test. You can't have a testimony without a test. So you and me gone through different calibers of situations, trauma, hurt, pain, emotional pain. It really makes us to who we are today that most people don't really go through. They come from a picture perfect family and they're like, oh, everything's great. I got daddy's credit card and, I just have everything handed to me. And then what do? They just end up turning up entitled and average, when the people that actually went through the hurt, went through the test.
They're usually the kindest. I feel like they're either the kindest or they're always there for people,
Exactly.
And they show up the most for
they
people
know
because
what it's like.
They know what it's like to be in the dark by yourself, And that's the thing too, is I feel like just when you're in those dark times, I feel like definitely when you're in those dark times, because you like, in all honesty, the only person that you're really going to have is God in the end, because
100%.
There's so many times that I literally, because dude, I'm telling you, like I'm a lone wolf most of the time. Like I'm just always by myself. I'm always, that's always just how I've been. But especially like being out on my own away from my family, like usually average, well, at least like 1,000 miles at all times since probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was 18, I literally left, and that's the thing, is when I left home and I moved to Arizona, I mean, granted, yes, I always came down here as a kid, and I always felt like it was more of home than like where my family was, but it's also like being away from family, like the conversation that you're having earlier, home can be anywhere, like as long as you have the people around you. And I feel like that's the thing, is for me in my journey, I felt like I had to come here. Something just called me, and I always felt it in my heart when I was growing up in Montana. I was just like, dude, I gotta get out of here. One, because the racial tension and everything there, because it's crazy. And that's another thing.
It ain't pretty up there.
Because, dude, but like just seeing all the racial injustice my whole life, like with my brothers, my little brothers, and, especially like just racism and everything like that. And I feel like that really Like, just realizing too, accepting myself and my experiences, because as an indigenous woman, as a Navajo woman, I never really looked at it from that standpoint. You know, I grew up in a racist state that was like, your point isn't valid, you're nothing. You know, like, just people. I literally remember my basketball game. Like, there was 5 girls. There's 5 Native girls on our team, and it was weird because it was always like segregated. Even though technically it was a team, it was always segregated. Like, the brown girls stuck with the Native girls stuck with each other, and then the white girls would stick with each other. So it was always like the division, but we were still a team. It was weird, but you know, it was just crazy too. With even like at one of our games, we had people like literally like calling us like Prairie NIGG. You get the point. But they would like try to be spitting on us, and it was just crazy. Like, just all this stuff, and, you know, just that's another thing, is healing that younger self, because for a while I feel like, honestly, I'm gonna be real, like, for the longest time I did not embrace my Native identity, because, you know, I always felt like, okay, I have to hide this part about myself so I'm accepted into, you know, higher end opportunities.
Yeah.
That's what, honestly, I really did a lot of reflection, especially out in California where God isolated me. I feel like God isolated me out in California to be like, okay, learn who you are, write it down, get used to it, search yourself, just do what you have to do to find yourself, because I was so lost for so long. Even though it seemed like I had everything on the surface put together and I was going places and stuff, I was so damn lost. Like, but, you know, with just that and just healing that part of me and understanding like where I came from and just all of that. And that's one thing my mom always told me. She said, don't ever forget where you come from. And she said, always be proud of who you are. And, you know, and I was just like, oh, you know, I was young and I was like, okay, yeah, like, I'll heed your warning, I'll listen to you and stuff, but it never really clicked in my head. And once I went through that experience, I was like, oh, that's what I was like, Mom, okay. I was like, man, I feel all jacked up for just, you know, not listening to her. But at the same time, it's like, you have to go through those things yourself. And I feel like, you know, like I said, back to the whole point of healing yourself, I feel like you have to really get, like, you have to get dirty, you have to get messy to pull those things out and just see, okay, this part, I don't like this part of my past, but I have to face it, you know?
It's a part of you. It always will be a part of you.
And you can't run from it.
A lot of people decide to just
let me tell you too, you can move to different states. And I remember Monique saying this that night. Remember, we were in Rona Park and I was like, man, because I literally remember just crying. I was like, I want to go home. I want to go back to Arizona. Like, I just want to get out of here. And it was just crazy because I remember, like, she just said, you know, you can basically, like, no matter where you are, if you're not happy, you're not going to be happy. And I was just like, oh yeah, same thing. Like, my mom was like, I'll see. But like I said, I had to learn that for myself. And I was just like, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it is, you also have to follow your heart too.
You got to follow your heart, but you got to understand that when you follow your heart, you got to follow the pure parts of your heart. You can't run from your issues. You went through a lot, so you need to, instead of covering it up and being like just moving locations, you're like, oh, I'm not happy here, I'm going to go happy and be happy over here. And if you're still not happy, it's not the location. It's you. You have to heal from what you went through first instead of trying smearing it and covering it up. A lot of people just smear it and they're like, oh, well, yeah, no, I'm good now. Like, I'm healed. And now they go make a bigger mess somewhere else, carrying that baggage. Now they got baggage in another state and in another state. And then they're just now having this baggage concoction of just issues and emotions and trauma that they don't know what to do. And pretty soon they have a mental breakdown. They're like, where did I go wrong? Well, you went wrong from square one.
And it can get really ugly, and that's the thing is, you know, just recognizing that, because everyone's going to have their emotions, everybody's going to have their thing, but I think just really slowing down, just taking, because, you know, especially when you're hustling all the time, you just work, eat, sleep, work, you're just doing that repeated, and you don't take that time for yourself, you know, and actually really slow down and just be present. And that's the number one thing, is just being present.
Being present in the moment. And like, I'm still learning that one. It's gotten a lot better, you know. I mean, even today, literally, we're driving and we saw that guy, you know, get off the bus, and you're like, oh wow, like, I didn't notice that because I was thinking about things that were happening 2 hours from now. And then you were like, oh no, you got to be in the moment. You got to like, you'll notice that kind of stuff. I'm literally, like, wow, you're right.
This dude hopped off the bus with a Grubhub bag, because I used to work at a restaurant, like recently, so I was like, I know what Grubhub bags look like when they come in to keep the food hot and cold. It wasn't just like a little like reusable grocery one. It was like I could tell it was the insulated ones. And when he hopped off that bus stop, I just looked and I was like, that is hustle right there. That is a true meaning of a hustler, because no matter what, this man doesn't have a car. He's without a car. He's without a bike or anything. He's on foot, and
Still making
he's
money.
still he found a way when like 98% of the population would be like, I
Oh, I'm
can't
good.
do
Yeah.
it. I don't have a car. I can't do it. This man made a way, and that just spoke volumes to
When
me.
you
And
want something
honestly,
bad enough, you'll find a
ooh,
way. And it always comes down to,
yes.
hey, look, honestly, Taylor, winners are winners and quitters are quitters. All right? If you're not going to find a way, you're going to find an excuse. It's facts right there. If you will not find a way, winners will find a way, but quitters will find an excuse. And the quitters will get mad and blame the winners because, oh, he just got lucky, or they just got, whatever. And while they're sitting on their bedroom scrolling and seeing successful people get more successful, and the quitting people getting more into their whatever they've created for themselves because they don't decide to heal from the problems, get up and start changing something. So when you don't, if you're complaining about something, first of all, don't complain about anything if you're not willing to change it. But if you are willing to change it, you better get to work and you better start healing first. Because guess what? It starts with
oh, and you know what? As Lauryn Hill says, she said, "How are you gonna win How are you gonna win when you aren't right within, bro? That shit, that stuff, dirt."
What? No,
Dude.
I mean that's facts. I mean not that
But
little
honestly,
like chime at the end, but like
yeah. But honestly, like it's crazy because with that, I like I said, with my recent breakthrough, I really was like listening to very like deep music, and I was listening to a lot of Lauryn Hill, Erica Badu, you know, like I've always listened to, you know, like rap and R&B and all that stuff. That's just what I grew up listening to, and you know, just like listening to the more lyrically intelligent songs, you know, just about like a lot of J. Cole and stuff like that. But you know, when Lauryn Hill said that, and like I was really listening to the words, and I was like, it spoke to me, because I was like, that's so true. Because honestly, I've reached to a point where it's no point of return for me, because I'm not going back to who I was, and you know, like I'm past that point of like in the shift over, because you know, it's like the caterpillar to the butterfly. And oh, let me tell you about this. Oh my lord. Okay, so
oh hell yeah.
for example, you know, like with healing and everything like that, you know, like that was a biggest roadblock, dude, because I'm telling you, I went through a really bad depression. And like I said, you know, the strongest people, they'll be like, okay, everything's good, everything's fine, and they'll go home and be like, holy crap, that was so draining, just trying to put on that fake smile, just trying to keep, you know, from crying and stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly. And it's just crazy because, you know, like, because recently, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but, you know, I was literally, like, the stuff that I went through all within the span of maybe less than a month, just everything back to back to back to back. I was just like, bro, I was like, God, can you give me a break at least? Can I just catch my breath? Like, you know, because I was just like, dude, how? And it was just crazy, because that's why I went into really bad depression. And it's crazy because it started popping up. And, you know, like with my whole health thing, that was the biggest scare. I went to the doctors, so I didn't have insurance, but I went to IHS. IHS, yes, it's free, but dude, they'll literally like, they don't care if you die on the operation table. They'll be like, oh, well, you signed a paper saying that, you know, you get what you pay for, which is nothing. So you're going to get nothing. But literally they told me, okay, like I had this like rash show up on my leg, and they're like, oh, it's bug bites, here's Benadryl. I was like, dude, I was like, no, it's not. There's something wrong. Because I grew up, you know, unless you're like bleeding out and like gunshot wound, like you're not going to the hospital type of thing. So
yeah,
you know, and it was just crazy because when I felt something in my body telling me go to the doctor, and I had to go to a specialist, which isn't pocket friendly at all. So, you know, I was already like just moved into my place. Like I got, I didn't have a source of income. I'm not gonna go into that because, you know, it is what it is. You know, karma's a real thing. Let me just say that. So I'm not too worried about it. But we're gonna keep it at that. So, but like I was saying, you know, it was just like that, just stress and just everything that happened before that. Yeah, it was just crazy because it showed up. Like I was so stressed out. I'm used to high levels of stress, and like I can get through a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the weight on my shoulders, I can get through a lot. But I reached a point where it was just so much that I literally had my breaking point. I was just like, you know, I'm strong. But I literally reached that point where I was like, I can't do it. Like that was like one of the first times I ever, like one of the only times I've ever said in my life, I was like, I can't do this. I really can't. Like I remember like just being so depressed, just sleeping, and I was just like, man, like I was trying to keep strong. I was trying to, you know, push through for my business because I didn't want to just let that go down the drain, but just trying to maintain, at least just trying to keep my head above water, and you know, just trying to just do all of that. And it's because I didn't heal. All that time I was putting everybody else before me, and it was like God just came in and was like, okay, we're gonna, oh yeah, by the way, it was an autoimmune thing. Like it was a very rare condition. It was weird because they were like if you didn't come in, like if you would have listened to them and just took Benadryl for 2 weeks, your organs would have been damaged. Basically, with like the autoimmune thing, like I could have died. Like it was that serious. And I've never really had health problems like that. I've always been very healthy. I've always been like an athlete when I was growing up and stuff. So it wasn't like, you know, I had years and years and years of living unhealthy. It was just recently where I was kind of, you know, I was letting myself go and just like with my mental health and everything. Just another thing going back to, you know, just I feel like too, it's just something within like my community, like the Native community, like Navajo and stuff. We're always taught. I mean, think about it, for since everything happened within U.S. history, it's like we're just now kind of like recovering from it, and like the whole grand scheme of things, we're recovering from it. We're still like, I mean, there's a lot of people out there like my age with parents, grandparents that went through boarding schools and everything like that. So that's a lot of generational trauma and cycles that I like a lot of Native people have to break.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, you know, growing up, it was just kind of push through it. And if you think about it, that stems from what my ancestors went through. Is just get through it. This is what it is. You have to get through it, push through it. And you know, same thing with Black communities. That's what I've noticed. Like a lot of my Black friends, like, you know, in our communities, there's not a lot of, okay, take the time that you need to like really process it and everything, because we don't have time for that. We have to hustle. We have to make our money. We have to take care of ourselves, you know, and it's just a lot of, that's a whole nother discussion that I can go on for hours, but for the sake of this podcast, just kidding. But no, but for real, like, you know, just I was never really like taught to prioritize my mental health, and healing is a huge part of it because, you know, coming from like a background like mine with like addiction,
Drugs,
you know,
alcohol, violence,
all that stuff, just
Yeah.
growing up in that and just seeing stuff like that, it just, you know, being surrounded by that,
The association with it.
yes. And that's the thing, is that's another reason why I moved out of Montana, because I was like, dude, if I don't get out of here, I have to save myself. And that was the first step that I took to saving myself, was to get out of my hometown, because I was like, if I stay here, it's not going to end pretty.
Not
it
at
really
all.
isn't. And that's why I was just like, you know what, I knew from when I was a kid, I was like, I'm getting the F out of here.
When you grow up in a very like a bad association, you're like 9 times out of 10 you're gonna like flow down that bad path, and you gotta, you know, pull yourself out of that. And the thing is that you hit it right on the mark when you said that you get through, you heal, and you prioritize your mental health. On my whiteboard back home, I got 3 priorities: God, mental health, physical health. A lot of people get it backwards. They're like, oh, well, I got to prioritize my business. And I used to be that guy. I used to be that person that put my business, my social life, my everybody else but my mental health first. And here's the thing. If you don't put God first of all, like Denzel Washington said, put God first in all that you do. End of discussion, period. Don't even argue that. Number 2.
Pray, pray, and slay, biatches. I had Think about that. I almost cussed, but I didn't.
Spread seed, get cheese. Anyway, number 2, mental health. If your mental health isn't taken care of, everything below fails. You can't physically work out. You can't run businesses. You can't be creative. So you have to make sure your mental health is first, all right? Then I put my physical health because, well, I'm not trying to be a twig anymore, and it's actually working. But
he said, "I'm buff now."
I'm not buff, but I am ripped a little
Dude,
bit.
honestly, from where
Bit.
you started, you've made a lot of progress.
I've gained 30 pounds in 4 months. I'm
That's
162 pounds. I'm just 63 right now. But yeah, remember, my arms used to be smaller than yours. My biceps used to be as skinny as my wrist. And now I can barely even wrap my own arm around my bicep. So that's 3 to 4 months worth of progress right there. I'm so can't wait for my 6 months progress. It's going to be sick. And wait till my 1 year progress. I'm going to be unrecognizable in 1 year. Less than that. Exactly. Stay tuned. But the point is you got to put God first. You got to prioritize fixing yourself and healing. And you got to prioritize your physical health too, because all those work together. Then take care of business and social and boyfriends and girlfriends and all that bullshit later.
Ooh, let me speak on this too.
Hey, you got the mic.
Coming from me, okay, I was in abusive relationship. Well, I was in an abusive relationship. My first relationship ever. It was emotionally and physically, And, granted, as I've gotten older, I've realized, all the factors that factored into that. And, again, the generational cycles, like the guy that I was dating, he was Native. And just the things like his upbringing was, oh my gosh. Like, honestly, now that I think about it, I'm not making excuses for his behavior, but the stuff that he went through growing up on the res, I'm just like, dude, I hope that he's doing really well now and everything. I wish the best for him. And now that I'm older, it took me a long time to heal that part of me because it started popping up in my relationships, through just different things that I would do. And I started realizing, I was like, why do I keep hitting this wall? Like, why do my relationships don't work out, because, like I said, I just recently had a breakthrough and I've been single for 3 years or so. And so I haven't been in a committed relationship for about 3 years. And, and just a lot of, just other trauma too that I had to work through within myself. That was that big roadblock. And that's the thing is I was just like, oh, I want a relationship. But then I was thinking, I was like, dude, I don't even know how to put myself first. I can't,
put somebody else up on the pedestal.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't love myself. Because, I thought I knew what self-love was, but until I was truly by myself and I was forced to be in my own presence, it was miserable at first because I didn't know myself. I really didn't. I felt so miserable. I was like, I need to make a plan. I need to make plans just to be around people just to escape myself. And I feel like with that, that's a big motivation for why I wanted a relationship was so I didn't have to be by myself. So I could, feel like I had someone. Yeah. But that's the thing is, healing yourself and getting through that, you learn so much about yourself, and it's crazy once you get to that level of awareness where you're tired of your bleep this out, but you're tired of your shit for real.
Yeah,
you're tired of your own shit, and it really is true. You see that on memes. Oh, you get tired of your shit and you just change, but it's. You get tired of living a certain way. You're tired of the same outcomes. You're tired of,
the
same thing. You're stagnant, and you're just like, you know what? Okay, you have to take a step back. What am I doing to make my situation better? Exactly. Like you were saying, don't complain about something that you're not willing to change.
Yeah, see, and when one person gets, I keep saying this all the time, nobody listens, but maybe they will to you. When you get to a point where you crave being alone, like I crave it, you crave
Holy
it.
Crap,
oh my gosh,
I do.
I can handle people. I'm a very social, outgoing person, especially with what I do.
Need your time.
They're all people related. I come back home and oh my gosh, like right now my dad's in Arizona. I love my dad, but I love my own space and I have the whole house to myself. So I'm flying back to California tomorrow, 8 a.m. I'm so looking forward to just throwing myself a party. I take myself out on dates. I literally do that. Not many people know that, but I actually take myself out to some really fine restaurants and I buy myself dinner and I buy myself a drink and I sit there alone. It could be a fast food place. It could be a fine restaurant and I sit there alone. I shut my phone on airplane mode. I take in the presence and I take myself out because I love it. I'm treating myself. I know how to take care of myself and I put myself, as selfish as it sounds, you have to put yourself first. before you put anybody else first. And that's how I grow to love myself and learn about how I interact and work with myself. And if I come across, obstacles, I pray. But I also learn how I react to them, so that way I don't have to react to them. Like, for example, yesterday, took the high road on this one when I could have completely, obliterated this idiot. I'm going to prove a point with this one, but I was in a store and this guy decided to have a little interaction with me. And most people would get all hot-headed, and try and stand up and be all tough and be like, you can't say anything to me or whatever. And I was just like, made a small comment, turn the other way, ignored him.
Not worth it.
Not worth it. Not worth your time, not worth your energy to entertain somebody that doesn't know how to, like most people don't know how to mind their own business. That's okay. Not your problem. They'll figure it out later in life.
That's their own problem.
That's their own thing. If they can't mind their own business,
God will set them straight.
Mommy and daddy failed to teach them that. That's not my issue. That's theirs. But instead of reacting, take the high road. See, smart people, they stay quiet. They observe. Dumb people, they open their mouth and they're just jabberjaw. They yep all day long. They just don't know how to shut the hell up, But the person that's intelligent and wise, they just one in one ear, out the other. That's where it's like a lot of self growth came into play. I could have taken this person's head off, but I literally just sat there. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Next.
You're a fly on the wall. Just be a fly on the wall.
Just be a fly on the wall.
Literally back against the wall, just binoculars like this. What you up to, bitches?
What you up to, beach beat, buzz? What's going on?
I'm just kidding. No,
literally. That's hella funny. Just fly around, be like, buzz, what's going on? Like,
yes, that's right. Just kidding. Why did that sound like some kind of radio
vibrator?
Talk show? Hell no, some talk show. Anywho's, yeah, we're gonna let that one slide. Anyways, so like I said. Dreamville, we're watching some J. Cole on the screen. Oof, I love me some J. Cole. Anywho's,
J. Cole is pretty awesome. I want his helicopter.
Right?
Not gonna lie, that looks pretty dope.
Dude, he's like the modern day GOAT. Like, honestly, I feel like he
is a GOAT.
He's like the greatest of our era. I'm not gonna lie.
He's ahead of his time. Yeah, he's ahead of his time almost, dude. Like, not gonna lie, I was listening to what you were playing last night on the TV, and I was like, this guy has got it. Like,
he is, and that's the thing is, I feel like. For him, he even talks about it. Like, I've listened to J. Cole since he first, when he first came out with, Sideline Story, For him, at least, him as an artist, that's what I really appreciate about him because his songs at first, yes, they were talking about, he story told, but he was on a level where it's kind of more, it's more about girls and stuff and, just kind of, you could tell he was still young,
Yeah,
at that point,
maturing.
he was young in his career, so, he was really good still. He had it, but he needed to develop it.
He needed to grow more.
Now the level he's on is just absolutely mind-blowing. His lyrics, dude,
they hit.
His lyrics can bring me to tears because he speaks about so much real stuff. And, honestly, like I was telling Bryan, earlier, I got a couple hours of sleep and I went to work, put in some OT today, and I didn't have coffee, and everybody knows I need my damn coffee to even be able to function or say hi or, not mess up my words in the morning. For real, I need my coffee. That's how I start my days.
I need coffee. I need energy drinks because if you don't, I pull 12 to 14-hour days sometimes, not all the time, but when I do, I need to function.
Dude, literally.
It's insane.
And that's the thing is, me with my coffee, but... the emotion that J. Cole's lyrics brought out, I just put it on shuffle and I was like, we're just gonna listen to J. Cole.
He's gonna wake me up today.
2 hours, dude, with no coffee. I was tired. I was like, dude, I've been putting in so much work, just OT. Even my coworkers are like, dang, did you sleep here last night? Basically, yes, I did. So, yes.
Basically, yes,
Basically, yes. Yes, ma'am. Anyways, but with that, just his music and just everything. For him, for example, he's a great example, just the level of growth within, just looking at his career, it's insane, dude. And that's why I feel like, even with his song, January 28th or I can't remember. It's 2014 Forest Hills Drive when he released. I think it was in 2014. I'm pretty sure. Anywho's, like I was saying, love yours, dude. That's the thing is, oh gosh, I could just talk so long about all this stuff because I just love sharing wisdom and stuff. But
there's a lot of wisdom in it.
Long story short, his lyrics, I feel like, music, it just heals. And just healing, just finding those things that heal you, you know? Feeling your emotions, that's the number one thing, is feeling your emotions no matter what it is, because, you know, you, coming from a person who's had to be strong a lot of times and to have my own back through a lot of stuff and, you know, just getting through stuff, I feel like that's something that I took so long to learn, is to just process it, stop running from it, and really feel it. Every emotion that you have, and that's what, you know, now, like, just anything, like, just sit there in the uncomfortableness and just be present and soak it in and just grow through it.
Here's what you got to do. Something happens, all right, that causes an emotion or a feeling or a trauma. Deal with it right there. Keep dealing with it until you're through it. Through my breakup, I kept dealing with it. You helped me through a lot of it. Helped me through a lot of it. And I remember you telling me, keep saying to yourself, I forgive her. I forgive her. I forgive her. I forgive her. Over and over and over and over again. 6 months later, I forgive her became more meaningful. 6 months after that, it became,
because at first it feels so
official. Yeah.
Yep. That's the thing, is with breakups, you have to say it. It's going to feel very bitter coming out of your mouth. It's going to feel so bitter.
It's going to feel gross. It's not going to feel like you.
Yes, it's going to feel so not right coming out of your mouth. Like, how could I forgive this person? But that's the thing, is forgiveness, I've learned, is just, that's not your problem.
The thing I understand.
You move with pure intentions. You keep your intentions pure. You do people right within, you know, you do people right, and you keep their best interest in your best interest, or you keep their best interest basically, like, number one. You want to do the best for them. You don't want to screw them over, and, you know, that's the thing.
The thing I understand is God loves them too. Okay.
Yes, they're going to make their mistakes.
They have their own. We all are going to make our own mistakes.
There's people that have to forgive us too. Think about it. There's people that have to forgive us too. We may not think about it that way.
Yes.
What?
I'm just thinking, like, yep, they gotta forgive us.
Yes. No, that's the thing, is
gosh.
we've done stuff to people too that we may not have been on that level of awareness.
Yeah.
Think about it. That's all it is. That's all it really is.
And again,
of awareness.
which is so funny too, and I said this a while ago too, is when you heal, you change, you grow. But if you don't talk to a certain person in a while, they remember you as who you were, and you're over here. Some people are still talking about a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. Repeat that in your head. People out there know a version of you that doesn't exist anymore, and they still think that that's you. When you've grown and changed so much and
that's
healed.
The last taste in their mouth.
That's the last taste in their mouth. And hey, guess what?
Hey, no pun intended. I'm just kidding. Anywho's.
I think my dirty ass mind took that a whole different route.
Yeah, that's what I kind of meant it.
Oh.
But we're going to cut that out, but
Taylor.
You know what?
This is a PG podcast. You cannot be doing that.
It's okay. I just got to throw that in. Because you know what? Your mind can wander. Just don't let it wander too far. Yeah, I'm just kidding. The words from Heroes.
Alrighty. In that case.
That's some bloopers right there.
In that case, we're going to wrap this episode down, though. But healing in general, like, to just recap.
Here,
like,
let me just speak some real truth. Just to sum it up, okay?
Speak it.
So, I'm going to recap just the process to healing. Or at least somebody who's new to it. Because, you know, I've recently had that breakthrough and I didn't know how to actually heal. And I feel like, you know, you're presented with a situation. God presents a situation to you. You don't know how to act. You don't know how to react to it. You don't know, you know, you just have to sit there, be present, feel what you have to feel. If you got to cry, cry.
Let it out.
Let it out. Let it out, because if you keep it in,
it's gonna
if you bottle it up, coming from a previous bottler, but for real,
I'm a vintage bottler.
If you bottle it up, it's gonna explode.
Hurt.
It's gonna explode one day.
It's Coke and Mentos, dude. Honestly,
it's literally, if you bottle it up, it's Coke and Mentos.
My friend Salem wrote that song, Coke and Mentos.
Dude,
it bottles up. I mean, it's not about bottling it up. It's actually about like a guy's Coke and the girl is like Mentos or whatever, and then you just mix them together and just like. Pff. But in this case, yeah, it's like Coke and Mentos. You just keep holding it in. Guess what? You can only take so much before you just blow up. And you're just running from it, dude. It's gonna catch up. Your sin will find you out.
You have to sit there, sit through it. You have to be uncomfortable, dude. I've been in so many uncomfortable situations in my life, and that's what I realized. I was like, you know what? You just have to sit there, deal with it. Life isn't always gonna be, you know, sunshine and rainbows all the time. You're going to be in dark, ugly places. You're going to be wishing for a way out. You're going to be praying.
But
and you know what?
without,
That's the thing is you got to pray about it. You have to pray for the knowledge how to deal with it. That's the number one thing is pray about it and just be present with it and just let yourself feel your way through it because you know life is so precious because I've seen a lot of death lately and that's what another thing that led to my breakthrough was you know I was like there's so many people like just within the last year and a half that have passed on
yeah,
that you know I've known I've you know been like a lot of family a lot of you know family friends like stuff like that and just seeing a lot of passings and just realize that I feel like that just it was a lot of you know dealing with like just holy crap you know like I feel like it just brought to my attention what is my purpose here on earth, what is it, and, you know just having to heal through like just everything and just going through it. You can't go above it, you can't go around it, you can't go under it. You gotta go
right
through
through
it, bitches.
And without rain, no flowers. So get used to it.
Every
It's called
rose
life.
needs the rain, as August Alsina, and that's I got so much like meaningful songs I could just quote, but yes.
You're like boom, that
and
hits
you
your
know
heart.
what? And that's the thing is, you know, like even like my favorite poem of all time, you know, ever since I was elementary school, "The Rose That Grew from Concrete."
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I was going through so much pain, and I just remember reading that, and it gave me so much comfort. Tupac's poem, "The Rose That Grew from Concrete." I just feel like that poem really spoke to me because if you think about it, it talks about a rose growing from a crack in the concrete.
Yeah.
It's the most random place that you know you wouldn't think. Oh, a rose can't grow there, but guess what? It did. Without having feet, it learned how to walk.
Exactly.
Ooh, but anywho's, yes, healing is the number one thing. Take care of yourselves. Prioritize your health. Prioritize just doing what makes you happy.
Prioritize your
Making
mental
time.
health so that way you can heal through your traumas and your problems and you'll be able to make room for what God has planned for you.
Exactly.
100%.
Journal about it if you don't have anybody to talk to. You know, talk to your loved ones about things that you're going through.
Go pray on the beach in the sand on your knees.
Yes, that.
That helped. That helped
Let
a
me
lot.
Let me just tell you. So little thing about that. When I first moved out to Cali, the worst. I was in some bad mind state. I was so worried about stuff. You know, like I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but you know, leaving at a time where my nephew was facing racial injustices just because of who he was. You know, Mexican and Native. He was targeted by the system in a super racist state. And, you know, just seeing that and it just leaving at that time and, you know, just reconnecting with him because he went through a very dark time. And that kid, he's not a kid, he's a man now because just seeing him transition, you know, just from just everything he's gone through in his life. And honestly, like, I respect him so much because having your rights taken away like that, having everything just
gone,
taken like that, you know, and just seeing that and like my little brother, like my best friend, basically like growing up, we lived together for years, you know, and just seeing him go through that and then leaving, it was so heartbreaking, dude. I'm telling you, when I left home, it felt like my heart was ripping because I was like, dude, I was like, I feel like I need to be here for him, but I knew I was like, I have to go on this for myself and also to help them because if I have to help myself before I can help them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's the number one thing is my family, dude, everything I do is for them and myself.
Yeah.
And God. And whoever I'm put here on this earth to help, you know? And it's just crazy because with that, I remember sitting there. I was so stressed out. I was listening to Racks in the Middle. You remember me bumping that all the freaking time, Racks in the Middle.
Yeah.
Like, just freaking music. I was just always bumping it. And, you know, just going to that beach at midnight. I remember I was a little tipsy because, you know, I was just trying to self-medicate. I was just trying to get through the day. I was just trying to feel okay. And I remember we went to the beach. And I just remember thinking I just broke down crying. I broke down crying.
I
And,
remember.
you know, I went off on myself for a little bit, but I was bawling my eyes out. I really
I
was.
remember. You told me.
I was bawling my eyes out because I was
You,
like, you know
I
what?
helped. Yeah, I was praying for you while you were crying.
And yeah, it was just so crazy because at that time, you know, just being there, I just remember hearing the ocean waves coming in, and I was like, you know what? And I was thinking about my nephew, and I was just thinking, dude, you know, like he can't even leave the county. He has to get permission to even leave the county, like if he gets granted that.
Yeah.
And you know, like I wanted him to come out to visit me while I was out in Cali so bad, but you know, he couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I was just like this opportunity. Like I remember that night, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do what I have to do here in California, and I'm gonna follow God's path because God is in control.
Exactly.
And I just remember dropping down on my knees and I was just praying. I was like, God, just please, just take control of the situation. This weapon that is trying to be formed against my nephew. You know.
I remember all
just,
that. That was a big rough time for you, but
man, but it's okay because you know what? Oof. That time just opened my eyes to like it's a process. It's not gonna happen overnight.
Yeah.
Even that time that I thought I wasn't gonna be able to make it past, you know, I got presented with another time that I thought I wasn't gonna be able to pass. And that's the thing is healing through it, life is always gonna be handing you stuff. Once you make it, and you know what, that's the thing is TD Jakes in that one sermon, he says, you know, once you make it past that one level, get ready for your next problem.
Get ready for the next one.
That is so true.
But all these healings, they lead up to...
They make you who you are.
They make you who you are, and they lead up to the breakthrough. It's
because
like a step-by-step process.
If you don't heal, that's where you get stuck.
Exactly.
If you don't heal, you get stuck, and you go in the same cycle.
You end up in a comfort zone, you hit a wall, and then you end up going down not a path that you're supposed to go down.
Yep. So. And that's the thing is, that's another thing. Even if you've been stuck in a cycle for so long, you can always make it out, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen people that you would never even think make it past a certain age. You know, either they're gonna, like, basically, like, how am I gonna phrase this the most discreet way?
Just
basically, people that you wouldn't think that would make it past a certain age, you know, I've had a lot of those people in my life where it's just like, okay, the way that the choices that you're making right now, you're going to be dead within a year if you keep going down the path that you're going. And it's real life, you know, especially for people of color communities, you know, Black, Indigenous, Mexican, you know, we're faced with a lot of that. And it's just crazy because, you know, you just have to heal through it. And no matter what age, you can always change your life around. It's just that commitment that you make to yourself.
Yeah.
So
100%. But I think that, you know, we've covered a lot on healing. Well, I'm excited for the next one that we're going to do is breakthrough, because all this leads up to a breakthrough. So with that being said, I'm going to save for all these amazing stories for the next podcast. Healing, honestly, feel it, get through it, and then push through to the breakthrough.
About it. Always have faith.
Always
have faith that it will turn out okay.
Always have faith, because it always will turn out okay.
Always. Whoever is listening to this, yes, you. I'm talking to you right now. Okay?
Have faith.
Have faith. Know that things will always turn out okay, and know that God's got your back.
Absolutely.
Through whatever. No matter how far away you are from God at this point in your life, if you're close, if you're far, whatever, no matter what, God's got you. Just talk to him.
100%. 100%. Thank you guys again for tuning into the Mind Composition. I have episodes releasing every single Friday. Let's go record the next one, because that's the one I'm most excited for.
Yes.
Awesome.